Russia, a huge country in Europe and Asia, predominantly white, Christian, with capitals like European capitals, with culture which spreads across the world. They had the World Cup there, which looked like a regular World Cup in a Western country. They have museums, history, traditional values, artists, but under all these layers of public image, there is a dark, dark secret about what Russia actually is.
There are parts in this country where you could publicly and knowing by everyone be subjected to violence, genital mutilation, forced marriage, kidnapping, and even honor killing by your members of your family if you happen to be either a woman or gay.
If you try to, for instance, escape from it, right, from these parts of the country, from the families which abuse you, from your parents, your husband, or just local regime, they will find you. And not just like some thugs or mafia or regional leaders. Russian police and Russian intelligence services will track you down using all the modern technologies, using cameras in Moscow and St. Petersburg with face recognition, using your mobile phone, using all kinds of tracking devices. They will find you, they will catch you, and they will send you back where you could be enslaved forever or killed, and nobody will do anything about it.
On this channel, we keep telling you that whenever people talk about Russia, they mostly mean Moscow or St. Petersburg or all these other nice places that Mark has told you about that look like Europe, look like civilization. But it is very, very unfair to talk about Russia just in terms of these cities. Russia is a big, big, big country, and it's very unfair to overlook a region that is called North Caucasus. And this place has been primarily known as the place where people most would like to escape. Russia primarily associates with Christianity. Well, at least that's what they would like you to believe. We've talked a lot about this in our previous videos. But there are regions in southern Russia that are home to some of the most extreme cases of theocratic tyrannies like Iran or something. For instance, since 2007, a people of Chechnya, a Muslim republic in southern Russia, have lived under the hardline rule of President Ramzan Kadyrov. But he became notorious and widely known in the West, especially when in 2017 he launched a state-sponsored campaign to purge homosexuals from Chechnya. Ramzan Kadyrov is also known for encouraging polygamy, forced veiling, and most importantly, so-called honor killings. It's a murder of a woman by the members of her family if the family considers that she has somehow dishonored them.
Damn it, like that sounds like Taliban for me. It's not, well, you could call it traditional values, to be honest, right? It's traditional in some sense if your traditions go back to, I don't know, 10th century or something like that.
Middle Ages or something. Yeah, well, you would be correct to assume so, especially given that certain families are so traditional and so radical in their beliefs that there are Dagestani families, Dagestan is one more republic of Northern Caucasus, where young girls are subjected to genital mutilation. There was actually a material made by the Russian BBC where they actually interviewed some of these girls. There were 4 of them, and all of them have been mutilated that way when they were children. They do not remember how it happened, and they do not remember what happened with them, but they don't also know any other way to live, and they were extremely surprised to find out that no, girls are not permanently physically damaged like that all over the country and all over the world, which kind of goes to show you what kind of people we're dealing with here.
I asked my mom, how could you, knowing why they do it, do this to children, do this to a kid? Now, people ask us things like how or what, but we don't know any other way. We can't say anything about it. Yeah, but the point is, there's a problem with genital mutilation all over in Europe, where a lot of people from African countries where this is a tradition came. But the problem with Russia is not that these people exist, these traditions exist, is that the government, not only regional government, but central government, does everything possible to help those people to live by these traditions. So the laws generally don't work there, and not only there, but in Russia as well. So they like if you escape the community and you came to Moscow, where everything is liberal and fancy, and there are like gay bars all over the city, and the fancy restaurants where Washington Post and Economist journalists hang out, right?
With
Moscow
KGB
bureaus,
agents, yes.
Yeah, Moscow bureaus of every Western liberals media. And you come there, and then cops are chasing you in Moscow to catch you and to send you back to your family, to send you to some camps, to torture you, to do all sort of stuff with you because you were just born to the wrong family, and that's it.
What Mark means is that most crimes in Russia are unsolved. Mostly nobody cares about whenever somebody goes missing.
Yeah, it's not like the police is good in Russia.
Yeah, police,
in terms of doing something.
Police only exist to, make sure that there are no protests, revolutions, and all sorts of other crap. But the thing is, this is a very interesting fact that Russian law enforcement is for some reason, many reasons actually, is very scared of Muslim families. So if a Muslim girl that is of age, that is fully grown, 18 years old, chooses to leave her family and use one of the help of one of the NGOs that exist in Russia that help these women, and she leaves her city and leaves her republic and goes to live somewhere in the shelter, for instance, that they have special shelters there, in Moscow and St. Petersburg, the police will actually be so afraid not to cooperate with the family that they will use all available technical resources to come and find and look for this girl and bring her back to wherever she's from. I don't know, guys, if you know how far away Chechnya or Dagestan or Ingushetia is from Moscow. It's pretty freaking far.
It's pretty far away. Like it's 2,000 kilometers or even more. It's a lot. It's a lot.
And they will do anything in their power to find this person in Moscow, which is a huge city. They will look through all these cameras. They will use cellular network, and they will do anything just to bring this one girl back, who is, by the way, perfectly capable and it's perfectly legal for her to leave and to go wherever she wants.
Just look at this video from Russian documentary about the people who help those girls. How Russian police is effective in searching for them. There was a mistake. The person who brought a girl to St. Petersburg called the case manager from a cell phone. And it was a fatal mistake, because 3 weeks later, 10 Chechens burst into our employee's apartment, and 7 of them were police officers. They ransacked the apartment, held a knife to his throat, and demanded to tell where the girl was. In St. Petersburg, police and some mafia together just brought a knife to
Chechen
mafia. Yeah. Brought a knife to guys' throat to find out where the girl is. This is so important, such an important thing to search for, right?
There are murders, there are high-profile political cases of murder that is of interest, but some girl who decided to leave her home, and there were some people to help her with that, no, the police will drop everything they do. And by the way, it's not that there's anything illegal happening, by the way, so nobody kidnapped her. She went there willingly, so there is no crime. Yet, a Russian police will do anything they can do to help bring this girl back. And while we're on that subject,
it reminds me of stories of when the slaves tried to run away, right? It's like similar thing. They get these girls, they send them back, they forcefully marry them with some older dudes, and then God knows what happens to them after that.
No, not God knows what happens. We know exactly what happened. There was this case of, her name was Maryam Aliyeva. She and her 2 children ran away from home because her husband was abusive, and it was known, by the way, to everybody in their family and outside the family, really. So she took both of her kids and she ran away to Moscow. And then from Moscow, she fled to Minsk. And what happened was her husband
Minsk
found her in
is another country. It's Belarus. It's not
Belarus.
Russia.
It's
at that time it was much more different than now, but
so anyway, she fled to Minsk, and her husband found her there somehow, went there, promised her that he would not be abusive. He promised this to, the so-called gathering of the elders there. He cried and he promised he wouldn't touch her, that would be fine. They brought her home to the Republic of Ingushetia, where she was from, and then she got murdered by him and his brothers.
Mariam called her in tears, saying that a lot of men, relatives of her husband, were gathering at home and there was some kind of scandal happening. She was afraid they may start hurt her or even kill her. She tried to enter the yard, but she couldn't. She immediately contacted the police and the local officer came with her to the yard. They knocked on the gate and the husband appeared, saying everything was fine and that he wouldn't let her into the yard, but nothing was happening there. 3 weeks passed before the search, and during the search, they indeed found brown-colored stains on the carpet, on the soft furniture, burnt hair, and burnt women's underwear in the yard. The murder case was opened 2 weeks later, but the investigation didn't progress. There were no suspects at the beginning, nor there were any suspects until the very end. The most horrifying thing in that is that those people, those poor people who are subjected to this horrible stuff, this horrors, they are trying to, they have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to ask for help. They're trying, they ask the police, but the police is like, yeah, we'll help those who are killing people actually and mutilating them. Why did you? It's not our job to help you people. It's our job to help those who actually does the most horrible stuff.
And something to understand, that all of these crimes that are being committed in these republics by these people, they are all punishable by Russian law. So it's not like it's legal. It's not. These republics are subjects of Russian Federation. Yeah, and as of now and as of now, murder is illegal in Russia. I mean, they say it's illegal, right? But then Russia is not able or reluctant to enforce these laws in the Northern Caucasus republics, moreover, they're making sure that these problems are under-researched, underreported. At this point, going to the police in these republics, or actually anywhere in Russia, makes no sense. I mean, nothing's going to change. Almost all of these.
It's gonna be worse, to be honest.
Yeah, it's gonna get worse for you. And after these things happen, after the woman is recaptured or basically kidnapped back to the place she never wanted to be, these women will be subjected to so-called treatment. It's usually torture, obviously. And what happens is, for instance, one of the elders will come out, one of the religious leaders will come out and say, well, she ran away because she was possessed by a jinni. Right? Yes, now
it makes sense.
Yeah, it all makes sense. So what they do, they will take women, and we're going to show you a video right now. They put cloth over their face. It's very hot, and they're forbidden to move. And then this guy will yell religious songs at them and will pray, and people are unable to breathe under these sheets, and they're being held down. I mean, this is kind of the lightest thing you can get, psychological abuse, but they are cases of physical domestic abuse, and whenever women want to report them, it's just not being reported at all. And then there is for instance, the case of one girl, she's anonymous. She actually lived in Moscow, not even in Dagestan or Ingushetia or Chechnya. She lived in downtown Moscow, just in a very religious Muslim family, where she would show up to school with signs of being beaten up. And her teacher actually pretended like nothing happened. I mean, they just didn't even react anyway. This was kind of normal for them.
When I was in 9th grade, I came to school all beaten up. I was so surprised that even the class teacher didn't do anything. They just talked to me, said, they only want the best for you. And I understand that if it were in Dagestan, it seems to me that in Dagestan, the teacher wouldn't be allowed to say things like that. It was a Russian teacher.
And we're not talking about Northern Caucasus even. We're talking just about this kind of culture of abuse in these circles. But you may say, hey, Mark, Melania, Russian Orthodox Church is a big part of Russia, right? You've been telling us all along, and all these experts have been telling us how Russian Orthodox Church Christians are, being weaponized by the Russian state and all that. Well, how come if the Russia is so Christian and everything is so Christian dominated? How come that these people are allowed to do such things? Well, you will be surprised, but Russian Orthodox Church actually helped to protect domestic abuse in Russia. And basically, by their actions, they helped radical Muslims in Chechnya also. So basically, I love this. I love this crazy Russian concept that Russian Orthodox Church will do anything in their power to protect the right of one family member to abuse another family member, and
to have multiple wives.
Knowing the fact that these things occur in Chechnya. So basically, it's like radical Muslims and radical Christians coming together in one big happy family. I think this
finally
is what
some peace.
Yeah, like Russia, this is what Russia's all about. Crazy people doing crazy things together. They don't care about, Jesus, Allah. They're just, united in hitting their wives and kids. I think this is beautiful. Yeah, and also you might have heard Ramzan Kadyrov has often commented on the fact that he himself is not a fan of a concept of, polygamy, multiple marriages, and family abuse, and forced marriages, and honor killings. He said himself he does not support any of this. But there was this very, very disgusting story back in 2015 where a 57-year-old policeman, not just a policeman, but one of the heads of one of the departments of one of the bigger cities in Chechnya, his name is Nazhud Huchihov, he already had a wife, but he decided to marry this 17-year-old girl. And her family obviously was against that. Even though, they're kind of in this hopeless situation. He's a man of power. They have a woman, a small daughter. Nevertheless, he, being in a position of power, blocked the village where they lived so they could not evacuate her themselves, and then kidnapped her and forced her to marry him. They denied the marriage in the media first, so they said, that's not true, it never happened. But later on, a video emerged where she is dressed in all white, he's there, they're saying their vows, and then she's basically forced to be at her wedding where she does not look ridiculously happy, if you will.
Look
and
at
you know
her.
who's also... Yeah, and you know who's also in that wedding? Imagine that. Ramzan Kadyrov came to see his good friend, Nazhud Huchihov, the person that did the thing that Ramzan publicly denounced and said, well, you shouldn't marry people who, don't want to marry you. You shouldn't have multiple wives. But look at them having fun. And this, she's underage. She's a second wife. She never wanted to marry her. Her family did not want her to marry her. Yet, there you go. Everybody's happy. Nobody has any problems with that. This is what the great Russian culture is. Forget Dostoevsky and Tolstoy. That doesn't matter. There you go. Look at this girl. She is just ridiculously happy.
That's just, this is like when people lots of people in the West and people like Elon Musk or other dudes who advocate for Russia to just keep in the lands of Ukraine, which are occupied right now. This is what you are subjecting people living there. Not only like the regular abuse from Russian army, but the regime in which those people will be it is unimaginable. This is the regime which will protect every kind of injustice, every kind of human suffering. It will protect with all its force, and you will have nowhere to go from it. Like this is literally no chance to change anything. And like for Ukraine, we can take these lands back militarily, but like for Chechens, it's over. For people in Dagestan, it's over. They are subjected to this miserable life in which their daughters will be kidnapped, in which like people will have their parents killing them. It's just, and Russian government protecting it. It's just.
And if you think this has nothing to do with you, if you mistakenly make this assumption, well, I don't need to remind you that because Russian President Vladimir Putin has made this silent pact with Ramzan Kadyrov, well, he allowed him and his cronies to do whatever they want in Chechnya, then Kadyrovites actually took one of the key parts and were one of the main kind of heroic figures of the Russian-Ukrainian war that has started in 2022. So these things do not just exist in the vacuum inside the Russia. They exist for a reason. They exist as a method of exerting power over certain people. And this is how human rights violation that we like to take, out of the context and present to you as just this thing in and of itself, become an instrument of geopolitical kind of policy, if you will. So this is not the matter of, whatever happens in Russia means nothing to me, an average American somewhere in the Midwest. No, this is actually, I don't want to sound like I'm a conspiracy theorist, but this is parts of a larger game that are called regimes that hate anything that lives and wants to speak freely and wants to kill other people, because why would they not kill Ukrainians if they gladly kill their own women?
Oh, they export this very much. You remember that killing the Chechen guy in Germany? He was not gay. He was persecuted for the other reason, but Russian intelligence came there to kill him. There are also cases of Chechen mafia kidnapping runaways, gays and girls from European countries. They are very much exporting this oppression machine to European countries, to United States. They are doing it gladly, and they will do it more if those regimes will be prospering. Because right now, they're prospering. They're doing all this horrible stuff. And if Taliban is not doing well in Afghanistan, they don't have much to eat or to sell. Russians are doing great. Russia is doing great. Russia continues its export of its oil. Russia continues its importing high tech stuff and building rockets from it. Russia is doing great. Comparably in the context of what this country is and what it's doing. Probably that's something to think about, right?
If you like gruesome stories out of this reality, please subscribe to this channel. So if you would like to learn more about gruesome reality that some people live in, you can subscribe to this channel. Click the like button on this video to make sure it goes up on the YouTube world, if you will. Share this so that, let's spread Russian culture. It's not just about libraries with Dostoevsky and Tolstoyevsky and whatnot. It's about, the real culture.
Ice cream churches.
And all of that. No, it's not just about. So please like this video, comment your opinions underneath this video, share it on your social media, and we will see you next time.